God incarnate of the last days has come chiefly in order to speak His words, to explain all that is necessary to the life of man, to point out that which man should enter into, to show man the deeds of God, and to show man the wisdom, omnipotence, and wondrousness of God. Through the many ways in which God speaks, man beholds the supremacy of God, the magnitude of God, and moreover, the humility and hiddenness of God. Man sees that God is supreme, but that He is humble and hidden, and can become the least of all. Some of His words are spoken directly from the perspective of the Spirit. Some of His words are spoken directly from the perspective of man. And some of His words are spoken from the perspective of the third person. In this can be seen that the manner of God's work varies greatly, and it is through words that He allows man to see it. God's work during the last days is both normal and real, and thus the group of people of the last days are subjected to the greatest of all trials. Because of the normality and reality of God, all people have entered amid such trials. That man has descended into the trials of God is because of the normality and reality of God. During the age of Jesus, there were no conceptions or trials. Because most of the work done by Jesus was in accordance with man's conceptions, people followed Him and had no conceptions about Him. The trials of today are the greatest ever faced by man. And when it is said that these people have come out of the great tribulation, this is the tribulation that is referred to. Today, God speaks to create faith, love, sufferance, and obedience in these people. The words spoken by God incarnate of the last days are according to the substance of man's nature, according to the behavior of man, and according to that which man should enter into today. His method of speaking is both real and normal. He does not speak of tomorrow, nor does He look back on yesterday. He speaks only of that which should be entered into, put into practice, and understood today. If during the present day there is to emerge a person who is able to display signs and wonders, and can cast out demons, and heal, and perform many miracles, and if this person claims that they are the coming of Jesus, then this would be the counterfeit of evil spirits, and their imitation of Jesus. Remember this: God does not repeat the same work. Jesus' stage of work has already been completed, and God will never again undertake that stage of work. The work of God is irreconcilable with the conceptions of man. For example, the Old Testament foretold the coming of a Messiah, but it turned out that Jesus came. So it would be wrong for another Messiah to come again. Jesus has already come once, and it would be wrong if Jesus were to come again this time. There is one name for every age, and each name is characterized by the age. In the conceptions of man, God must always display signs and wonders, must always heal and cast out demons, and must always be just like Jesus. Yet this time, God is not like that at all. If during the last days God still displayed signs and wonders, and still cast out demons and healed, if He did exactly the same as Jesus, then God would be repeating the same work, and the work of Jesus would have no significance or value. Thus, God carries out one stage of work in every age. Once each stage of His work has been completed, it is soon imitated by evil spirits. And after Satan begins to follow on the heels of God, God changes to a different method. Once God has completed a stage of His work, it is imitated by evil spirits. You must be clear about these things. Why is the work of God today different to the work of Jesus? Why does God today not display signs and wonders, not cast out demons, and not heal? If Jesus' work were the same as the work done during the age of law, could He have represented the God of the age of grace? Could Jesus have completed the work of crucifixion? If, as in the age of law, Jesus had entered into the temple and kept the Sabbath, then He would have been persecuted by none and embraced by all. If that were so, could He have been crucified? Could He have completed the work of redemption? What would be the point if God incarnate of the last days displayed signs and wonders like Jesus? Only if God does another part of His work during the last days, one that represents part of His management plan, can man gain a deeper knowledge of God. And only then can God's management plan be completed.
God became flesh in the last days, mainly to speak, to show what man's life needs and what he should enter. Show man God's deeds and His omnipotence. Show man God's wondrousness and His wisdom. Through the many ways in which God speaks His words, man sees God's supremacy, magnitude, sees God's humility and hiddenness, that the supreme God can become the least of all. God uses words, not signs and wonders, to perfect man in the last days. Words expose, they judge and chastise, and make man perfect in every way. In the words of God, man comes to see God's loveliness and His wisdom. Man understands God's disposition. Through God's words he sees the deeds of God. God's words are spoken from different perspectives, such as the spirit, man, and third person. Through God's words, man sees God works in different ways. This age's main works to provide words for man's life. It is to disclose man's nature, corruption, eliminate man's knowledge and culture, old and futile thinking, religious notions. This must all be laid bare and cleansed through God's word. God uses words, not signs and wonders, to perfect man in the last days. Words expose, they judge and chastise, and make man perfect in every way. In the words of God, man comes to see God's loveliness and His wisdom. Man understands God's disposition. Through God's words he sees the deeds of God. to accomplish a stage of his work, in which the Word appears in the flesh. And this is one part of God's management plan.